Lindbergh, joined by Nate Garlock and Dave Bowen. We are the three wise men minus Miles Holliday. He's a little ill tonight, fellas. Under the weather, as they say.
That's what he says.
That's what he says.
It's all right. I think we got the better end of the deal.
We got Dave Bowen. Diamond Dave Bowen.
Yeah, coming out of the bullpen.
Absolutely.
And when you name segments after a guy, you got to bring him in.
Yeah, there's no Danny Holbrook. There's no Nate Garlock. It's Diamond Dave Bowen, yeah. Nate, let's tell the viewers how they can write letters to us.
All right, let's see if I can do this.
Emails.
Normally, Miles does this.
Yes.
I don't want to get it wrong.
Am
I doing it correct?
You are.
There it is. Woo, buddy.
Three wise men at WTLW.com. All I got to do is look at the monitor.
I am still amazed that you managed to get that right every single time.
Yeah, send us your
letters. We want them. We want to read them. We're going to do it tonight. It's a federal holiday.
No
mail,
right.
no run.
No,
federal holiday.
Right.
So unfortunately, we didn't get the letters today. So it gives you another week to get some questions into us so we can answer your questions on the air.
That's great stuff, man.
Hey, it's almost like maybe an outro.
All right, we've got it here. We might as well start with him.
Let's go.
Diamond Dave Bowen, what's the best thing you saw this week?
Well, I got a couple.
Oh, of course you do, Miles.
Yeah, sure. Well, we got to start with Friday night, and the Lincoln View Lancers coming away with the outright Northwest Conference Championship. Happy for Coach Brett Hammonds and his staff, the team, the community. I mean, slaying dragons, that's the theme of their season this year. Last year, 5-18, 0-7 in the Northwest Conference. 1-7 in 23-24, 1-7 in 22-23, 3-5, 21-22, 5-26 the four previous years in the Northwest Conference. First win against rival Crestview on Friday night in 6 attempts. First win against LCC this year in 10 meetings. First win against Grove in the last 9 meetings. Just an outstanding year. It was a great game to call Friday night.
You okay?
No, I'm okay, even for being a night. Well, Brett Hammonds being a Crestview graduate.
You really like that program, though. You like what they're doing, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Brett does it the right way and always has, and that's one of the reasons that community stuck with him and what he was trying to do when things weren't heading in the right direction there for a little while. But he's got the ship heading in the right direction now. Congratulations to him. The other one, honorable mention, Rushi. Covered Rishi and Marion Local Saturday night on WOSN. Rushi, they graduated half their community last year.
They did.
11 seniors, but Coach Lindbergh, his first year leading the program this year, doing a real nice job. I really liked what I saw from those kids from a nonverbal standpoint. They competed as hard as they could against a much bigger, physical team in Marion Local, more talent with Marion Local, but Rushi does have pride, they have tradition, and it was on display.
Good stuff. Nate?
So for me, I decided I wanted to, look, it's the end of the year, and we're starting to wrap some things up. You just talked about it. Lincoln View had their conference championship. We're going to start getting conference champions. We're going to start getting player of the years, coaches of the years, all those things. So for me, I wanted to use this to shout out a few of the conference title races and player of the years, things that already been decided. I'll start first with Columbus Grove. The Bulldogs, even though they had a little bit of a rough start, they got a late start because of their success from football. Mm-hmm. They got things going, and they come away with the outright PCL title. They clinched that over the weekend, so congratulations to the Bulldogs. And then we had some player of the years. Nicole Nesby, she was named player of the year in the Northwest Conference. She's the school's all-time leading rebounder. She has over 1,000 career points. She's a state champion, and they're looking to add to that as they begin their tournament run. And then over in Ottoville, Brooke Kester. She was named the PCL player of the year. She has over 1,000 points. Only a junior, only going to score more, only can continue to add to that. So congratulations to all of them. We're going to be a lot more here coming up in the next couple of weeks as we finish up the regular season.
Guys, for me, the best thing I saw this week, if it starts raining real hard in Lima Land, I'm getting on Noah's Ark. Noah Simpson's Ark.
Oh,
that's
nice.
where I'm going.
Right.
Holy moly,
Don't
folks.
say nice. Don't say nice.
It was a good one. It really was.
Why do we encourage it?
41 points in the Lima
awesome.
Cup. When's the last time anybody had 40 points in the Lima Cup? Whoa, things are falling off of me here.
So excited. He's just knocking things over in here. Noah has seen a lot of Lima Cups, and he has seen them from the sidelines as a young kid. He's been on the bench. He's been playing in them. he's watched some people in his own family make their marks in that Lima Cup, and he wanted to make his, and he did. Without Sean Foster on the floor, I'll tell you what, he didn't miss there for a while.
No, it's going to go down as one of the most impressive performances ever in the history of this rivalry. Guys, he had 7 threes. He was 13 of 26 from the floor, 41 points. It was one of those moments where he realized what he had to do, and I'm thinking his dad and the rest of his teammates have been waiting for that for a long time. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's never been nothing like 41. He's got it together.
And I think the bigger picture for this, for Lima Senior, is this has just made them so much more dangerous. Their Division II is loaded. Yep. It is going to be a difficult road for the Spartans. But I'm telling you what, they're learning, and this isn't just a Lima Cup thing. The last couple of weeks, even before Sean Foster had to miss a few games because of an injury, you saw guys like Noah starting to step up. Sean wasn't having to be the number one guy. He was doing the other things. You saw him on the floor, 50-50 balls. He was being a leader in other ways. The other guys were doing the scoring for him. He can still score. You know the attention is going to go to him. But you get these guys like Noah stepping up and being this type of player, man, you better watch out. The Spartans are built for the tournament run.
They're real, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are. All right, stick around, Lima Land. When we come back, we're going to go all LCC. Jordan Priddy and Brady Parker from the Lima Central Catholic T-Birds. They join us for the interview session next on The Three Wise Men. Tonight's interview is brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, located in Wapak, Delphos, and St. Mary's. Locally owned and operated, Lee's is not just famous for chicken, we're famous for catering, too. It's interview time here on The Three Wise Men, and the LCC T-Birds are in the house. Jordan Priddy and Brady Parker. Guys, thanks for spending some time with us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I want to start with you, Jordan, and this weekend you became the second all-time leading scorer at Lima Central Catholic, and in a school that has such a rich tradition of great players and state champions. I mean, what does that mean to you, and is that soaked in yet? I mean, look, there's an outside chance you could be the all-time leading scorer. You're going to have to make a deep run, right?
Yes.
But what does that mean to you to be the second all-time leading scorer at a place like LCC?
It means a lot. Coming here my sophomore year, I didn't even know I was going to be this high up. But it starts with my teammates getting me the ball, giving me the opportunity to put me in the right spots to score the ball. So as much as I want to take the credit, I can't.
Well, Brady, that bring it to you then. What's it like to play with a guy that, look, we've watched him for the last couple of years. When you guys need a bucket, he's your go-to guy. That's got to make you feel good to be on that team.
That's just what's great about playing with a good player like him. Especially, like, I'm struggling to put the ball in the hoop this year, but relying on him just to put it in just makes it a lot easier. That's why our success that we had this season is right there.
Yeah, let's talk about this season a little bit. Maybe not what you guys thought it would be, or maybe it is, but look, that's the great thing about March. You get a chance for a second season. And give me an overview of this season, both of you.
A lot of ups and downs. We've had really good games, and we've had some not so good games, but that's just basketball. I feel like we've gotten a lot better since December, and I'm excited for March.
Basically, yeah, what he said, a lot of ups and downs, like good games, bad games, but we're getting better as the season goes on. I said we're going in the right path, headed towards the tournament, so we should be able to make a deep run, hoping.
Yeah, 11-8 overall, 4-2 in the Northwest Conference. Winning streak of 3 games. That's your longest winning streak. But having said that, what would you say has been your most gratifying win of the season?
Probably, it wasn't a win, but I'd say Delphos.
Okay.
That was not a win on the court, but it was definitely a win off the court.
Yeah, you guys
as a locker room.
Yep, it's a great game.
I'd say Delphos too. Like, even though we didn't win, it was definitely our best game as a team overall, and that just showed people that we can hang with the best.
So, one that you'd like to get back, would it be that game, or would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
I feel like since Miles isn't here, he's out sick tonight, he couldn't be here, but I think every time that we've talked about LCC since that Delphos St. John's game, he's tried to interrupt me and make me say a certain thing, and I feel like in honor of Miles not being here, we got to say it.
You
can ask them.
Oh, okay. Now you do it.
Foul or not a foul? You don't have to answer. Miles will not let me get through a segment where we talk about LCC without asking me that question. But when you look at your guys' season, you guys talk about a lot of up and downs, kind of a roller coaster of a season. it's been one of those ones where when you look at the overall, if you're just looking at record and maybe you're not the most familiar with you guys, I think there's going to be some average fans, casual fans, and maybe even as you move through the tournament who overlook you guys a little bit. I've had the opportunity to call all your guys' games. I've seen even more. Your record, in my opinion, doesn't really reflect, I think, how good and how talented you guys are. It's about being consistent, though I think you guys would agree. What have you guys been kind of working on here lately, especially as we go to tournament, to try to get that kind of get over that hump and get that consistency? Because you guys definitely have the talent on the floor for sure.
A lot of practice reps on our offensive end. We've been working on Princeton offense. Defensively, our zone, we've been doing that a lot.
Basically just controlling what we can control. I mean, we played the hardest schedule in D6, so that's the main factor in our record. But I feel like right now just control what we can control, and we're heading in the right path. So just get better every day.
And I think that gets overlooked. The difficulty of your guys' schedule has been really high. Obviously, you guys mentioned the toughest strength of schedule in Division 6. You know, the coaching staff builds those for a reason. Do you guys like having those challenges in front of you, even though it doesn't always, result in maybe a undefeated season or these really gaudy win-loss numbers? You got to feel like you're ready for this next step, though, in the season.
I love playing the good teams early in the season because, like, Lima Senior, that'll be the best team we play all seasons. But, like, this schedule is just preparing us for the tournament the whole year. So I like it.
It's got to be good for you, too. Being a senior, you going through this recruiting process, going against top-tier talent, it's got to feel good to challenge yourself against some of these guys.
Definitely. Playing teams in higher divisions, being D6, the competition level, it's funny because we played Bluffton, and I had a pretty good game, and their student section was saying, "You're Division 6, you shouldn't be in this division." So that's kind of funny to me.
Brady, we had talked during football season, and I had asked you about when you play another good quarterback and how that motivates you. And that's when I had the great privilege of doing the Delphos St. John's LCC game and you and Cam just going back and forth. Do you get that way like he talked about in the fall about if I see another player across the line, I'm going to play as good as I can? And, I mean, that went viral, and people all across the state were talking about that matchup between you and Cam.
I love competing and competition. I played Cam basically my whole life in AAU, so I'm not new to that matchup. But I love going at him because I know he's one of the top guards, and I think I'm one of the top guards, and I just love playing against him.
Who's the best player in Lima Land?
Brady Parker.
I like your attitude. I really do. I think in order to be the best player, there's a ton of great players in this city when you think about it. Where does he rank at, Brady?
Him?
Yeah.
I want to say one. I would
too if I was his teammate. Absolutely.
Even if I wasn't his teammate, I'd still say one.
That's great.
It's good stuff. Okay, going to ask you a question here. You talk about stats and 28 points per game, 8 points a game, Brady. But let's look at the other categories. What's a stat that you think that you do really well for your team to help them on a nightly basis win basketball games?
You can go first.
I think assists, because that's, I think, my strong suit is my playmaking.
Okay, let's see where you're at with assists. Brady, you are averaging 4 assists per game, and that's first on the team. Wow. Who are you throwing the ball to? And what do you think, young man?
I want to say assists, but it's probably points and rebounding.
You're at 2.5 assists per game, and then rebounding, you are right up there. Dom has 88. You have 76, so you're averaging 5 boards per game. That's pretty good as well. Mm-hmm. Do you ever think, Jordan, that you're unselfish, too unselfish?
At times.
I know it's hard to say sometimes for a guy that's averaging 28 per game, but sometimes, why do you say that?
Sometimes down the stretch, I want to shoot the ball, but I know I got to get my teammates involved because that'll open me up more.
Okay.
And it's all within inside the offense.
And Brady, you nodded your head yes.
I think when he's rolling, he tends there's some games when he's rolling, he tends to pass a little more than usual. Like if he's rolling, he just can't be passing like that. He's rolling, he's just got to go and yeah. Mm-hmm. But
yeah. Well, I was just going to say, Danny talked about how that right now in this area we have a lot of really good basketball players. I think it's been a long time since any of us have seen this many really good individual players all at one time playing in this area. And we always talk about Northwest Ohio and sports in general, football, basketball. We're blessed to see a lot of the best players in the entire state. But for being two guys who are out there on the floor, who are considered some in that conversation of some of the best in this area, and then having to see them, there's not a night off. You see these guys week in and week out. What's it like playing right now in this area against these teams, knowing, especially with the way AAU is, and some of you guys are teammates in the summer, you guys play against each other in the summer. What's it like playing basketball right now in this time where we have so many good players in the area?
I love it. Every night you're going to get a good game. You don't know who's going to explode for 30 or 40. Maybe we'll have someone who's not a star, but a role player go for 20, like Brady could. He's a star, but he plays well in his role of the assist guy, which we're trying to get him out of that. But I love it.
What about you, Brady?
I like it. Just like he said, like there could be guys that are rough for 40. Like when we played Lima Senior, I didn't expect Noah to rough for 40, but playing against the best, it's going to happen. So,
you guys had a big game this weekend against Lima Senior, such a competitive game, and the rivalry is so big, and you guys come out on the losing end of that. How do you bounce back after that's such an emotional game? And we saw 3 technicals, and the fans were on top of that. How do you guys come back from that? How do you regroup and say, you know what, let's move on?
In the locker room after the game, you would think it would be demoralizing, but it was actually an eye-opening experience. It looked like a blowout on the scoreboard, but it actually was a good thing because they're the toughest team that we're going to play. Like physically, athletically, they're going to get us ready for the playoffs. And in the locker room as a team, we knew that. So
you guys got a big matchup. The tournaments have been settled. You guys are going to play Spencerville. Not talking about Spencerville. The one question I ask every week to the people that sit right here, who's the one team you want to beat the most each year?
This year, Crawford.
Carl Crawford.
After what they did to us last year.
That's a good team.
We gotta get our revenge on them.
I say regular season, either Delphus or Lima Senior, but in the tournament, it's definitely Crawford.
Does it surprise you guys to know that a lot of times, most of the time, when we ask teams that, they say LCC? You guys are real popular with that question.
Yeah. That's. I mean, you guys are everybody's target. It seems like.
It seems like you guys get everybody's best game for some reason. So it's got to be a little bit of a flattering, right? Where everybody, they want to come in and you guys get everybody's A game. So.
And speaking of which, you're jumping back into the league this Friday, playing Crestview, and you're fighting for that runner-up spot. Lincoln View, they won the league outright with their win Friday night against Crestview. How's it been? Do you have a perspective of 2 years in the league? Your sophomore year, you weren't in the league. Your freshman year, you weren't in the league. Do you like that Friday night league matchup? And then obviously, as we've talked about, your schedule is stacked in non-league games, but do you have a perspective? You lock into Friday night league games?
I say that's one of our main problems as a team. It's like it hasn't hit us yet, like how important conference games are. So like there's like, I think Powell said it in one of his interviews, just like we're not fired up enough for a conference game, and I think that's what killed us on one of our losses.
Okay.
Both of our losses, actually.
Yeah, you lost to Lincoln View and Allen East in the league, and so that's a tangible goal out there that sometimes you don't realize it's sitting there, and then you don't realize it till it's too late. Is that what you think too as well, Jordan?
Yeah, especially the Allen East game. We thought it was going to be a cakewalk for us, but it was their Super Bowl. They gave us their best shot, and we weren't ready for it.
Brady, you're a quarterback on the football team. Translate your leadership skills on the football team over to the basketball arena where, let's be honest, Jordan is one of the leaders on that basketball team. But being a quarterback, you got to be vocal, right?
Yeah, that's one of the main part. I'd say with him being our star player, I'm a role player right now. But my leadership vocally as a quarterback, like you said, is one of the huge parts because he can't do everything. So I got to step into that role and make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be because that's a big part of a quarterback. So I can translate that to the basketball court. But I also think being a quarterback translate the playmaking ability, and that's another part of my leadership that I can bring to the court.
Can we post him up more, Jordan?
Of
Can we get him on the block? Post him up. Let's get the ball. He's 6'4". Let's get him the ball. What do you think?
As Powell would say, he's 6 feet, 7 feet, 12.
320 pounds.
Tell me something Coach Powell says over and over and over again. And you got to do it in Coach Powell's voice. If it's suitable for TV.
There was an instance with one of our JV players. It's a inside joke on the team. He got hit with I ran him off a pretty hard screen from Hunter Williams, and he got upset at that, and he punched a water cooler. And so I'll do that impression of Coach Powell. You really gonna break your hand or your stomach?
That's good. That's good.
Can you do that, Brady? Coach Powell will be watching.
Well, Jordan, obviously, hopefully the season's not coming to an end soon. You still got, a month of playing ahead of you. But at some point, season's coming to an end. You got to start looking towards the future. Already have some offers in hand, looking towards the future. Congratulations on the Tiffin offer. That was awesome to see that as well. But what's the future looking like for you? Anywhere close to a decision for you? Or are you just going to keep kind of letting this play out and see what else opens up for you?
I'm going to let it play out. I'm going to see how far we go in the playoffs and make my decision then.
What do you want to do outside of playing basketball?
Accounting. That's the degree I want to go into, and
All right, guys, it's time for some rapid fire questions. Usually Miles does this, but these will be good tonight.
And by the way, I don't think Miles is sick. Isn't he practicing in the T-Bird?
Yeah. He's going to wear the.
He said he's not taking it off until they make it to state. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys, here we go. And you can answer. We'll start with you, Brady, then we'll go Jordan. But both of you got to answer. Okay, you ready? Of the two of you, who has the better fashion sense?
I'm going to go me.
And why? That's part of the question. And why?
I'd say Jordan doesn't like to impress people, I'd say. He's a low-key or nonchalant guy, I'd say.
Big words here on the three wise men. All right, Jordan, who has the better fashion sense, you or Brady?
well, he came in shorts. I know it might have been 55 degrees out today, but walking in here is pretty chilly. So I'd say me.
All right. We'll start with you, Brady. What teammate on your basketball team is most likely to forget their uniform on a road trip?
Xavier Purnell.
You can take your
No
time.
hesitation, yeah.
Jordan?
Xavier Purnell.
Why Xavier Purnell?
He's a clumsy guy.
Because it's happened.
Has it happened?
Not this year, but it did happen last year.
All right, where are we at? Brady, what is a T-bird?
Our mascot.
That's a cop-out. What's a T-bird, Jordan?
I'd say it's a red, white, and blue hawk. There you go.
All right. Today is President's Day, all right? And I don't know if you guys caught this weekend, but former President Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Brady, are aliens real?
I thought you said these were going to be good.
They are good. They're fantastic. They're better than Miles. Are aliens real?
I'm going to have to go yes. They are real.
Yeah. Is Bigfoot real?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Jordan, are aliens real?
Yes.
And Bigfoot too?
Yes.
All right. I like it, guys. That's awesome. Those were great questions, right?
They were pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, Nate.
Yeah. Sorry,
better
guys.
than your questions.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Best of luck Friday night against Dave's Crestview Knights. Yeah.
Yep.
Best of luck in the tournament trail.
Yeah, big weekend. Got Bodkins on Saturday, too. You guys get to finish out the year pretty strong.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
Welcome back to the Three Wise Men, and it's time for our WOSN schedule of the week. And gentlemen, we've got some great games. Not only are they great games, but we're going into March Madness. The tournament is here, gentlemen.
It sure is, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's an interesting time because you're still trying to settle a few conference races. You're still trying to get that momentum. But you can't help your playoff position at this point. Seeds are locked. You know where you're going. So now everything is building towards the postseason. But we got some big games, and guys, but the teams want to stay healthy. They want to make sure they don't lose any momentum going into this last couple of weeks. It's a fun time right now as we wrap up the regular season.
Guys, let's start game one Tuesday. Marion local 18-1 at Wapakoneta, 15-5. Nate Garlock and Jack McGuire on the call. Guys, about 2 years ago, we had one of the greatest high school football games we've ever seen, and it had these two schools. Might this be the same way?
Well, it'll be interesting. Marion local, I've had them 5 times in the last 6 weeks. 18-1. The player for them, we know Brady Mesher. We know what he brings to the table. He's just that rock. But Cale Arns has stepped up big time. He had 22 points Saturday night against Russia. He had 16 points on Friday night against Minster, leading scorer both nights. And what he has done is really just made them more versatile as a team at the offensive end. They shot the ball well from distance both Friday and Saturday night, and that is an area that Marion local has struggled with. Now, Wapak, they want to make you shoot it from the cheap seats, and they want to rock fight, and Marion local is going to have to continue to be good from behind the arc.
Yeah, Nate, these might be the 2 best defensive teams we've seen all year. They get after it on the DN.
Yeah, something's going to have to give, and I'm excited to be there to be able to watch this one. I had Marion local on Friday night, and they're very dynamic. They're very fast-paced. Even when things aren't always going the greatest offensively, because they got off to a bit of a slow start against Minster. It doesn't matter. They don't get out of the flow of what they want to do. They continue to put the pressure on you. They create extra possessions, and that might be a problem for Walpock. Now, Walpock is very long. They are very good defensively. They had a rough weekend. They lost a game that I don't think a lot of people maybe saw them losing, but this will be a good place for them to bounce back. We talked about that momentum and getting that momentum back. This is a tall task in a very, very good Marion local team that a lot of people are expecting to make a deep tournament run. But Walpock, with their length and their defense, if they can slow them down, they can muck things up on the inside and give themselves an opportunity here.
Yeah, that tough overtime loss against Elida, I'm really interested to see how the senior leadership
Yeah, that's
steps
a great
up
point.
for Wapak.
Game 2, Friday night, Lima Central Catholic at Crestview. Randy Roberts and Nate Garlock on the call.
That's got to be a misprint. I know I'm there, but there's no way I'm at Crestview and Dave's not there.
That's got to be a typo, right?
It's got to be wrong, right?
Yeah. You've changed your name to Randy Roberts.
No, I'm going to be out of the continental
That's
United States, so I'm not going to be around.
50th state.
Yeah, exactly.
Or is that Alaska?
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Guys, this is
everything cool I said you just ruined.
I know, right? This is a great rivalry. It's turning into, in every sport, Dave, you're part of the Crestview community. You guys want to beat them. They want to beat you. This is a great rivalry.
It is, and both teams are coming off a loss, so we need to see how both teams respond with that. Crestview lost both games this past weekend, both games being on WOSN against Lincoln View and Delphos St. John's. What I'm really interested, we know what Jordan Priddy can do, and how's Crestview going to defend him, but Dom McKee inside against Will Sheets, that is going to be an outstanding battle within the battle.
2 large human beings.
2 large human beings.
When they say those kids are 6'6" and 6'5", they are legitimately 6'6", 6'5".
Yeah, no, it's a rivalry game. We know all of that. What makes this one a little bit more interesting, and there's a lot that will be done before this could potentially happen, but you're also looking at a potential matchup in the tournament as well in a few weeks if both these teams manage to win the games in front of them. So we could see this rematch as well. Last year, LCC got the better of Crestview, so I'm sure some of the Knights that played in that one got a little bit of revenge on their mind as well. But if you're LCC, you're trying to bounce back from that Lima Cup. A tough game, always a little bit emotionally draining for them. There's always a little bit extra. That gym was absolutely jam-packed. There's always extra when it comes to that type of environment. You get a week off, though. You got to get reset. They know who they're playing in the tournament as well, but it's about finishing the regular season. They got a tough weekend. They have Crestview on Friday night, Bodkins on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But LCC, I'll be really interested to see how they bounce back on Friday night against Crestview.
Game 3, Friday night, Ottawa Glandorf at Shawnee. Mark Shine and Jerry Snodgrass. Guys, we had Coach Triplett on the radio show today, and he understands how hard it's going to be to beat Ottawa Glandorf to win the WBI outright. They've got a share of it, but they want it all, and he knows how tough that game's going to be. Look, this OG team, there's still 14 wins this year. They're having a really nice season.
Yeah, and you're talking about the two teams where the last, 5,
Yes.
6
Yes.
WBL titles have come down to one of these two teams. And now you have Shawnee, who is the defending conference champ, with a chance to clinch the outright title on their home court against one of their bigger rivals. Mm-hmm. This is a big spot. Now, they had a big one last week. They had to go over to Van Wert. They flexed their muscle in that one. They were down a little bit, but Coach Triplett gave an interview after that game, and I thought it was really telling. The one thing that he said, I just knew all week that Beckett wasn't going to let us lose a game of that magnitude, right? And when you have a player like that on your team, the confidence is sky high in every game that you play. And I think that they're going to feel that coming in again. OG is always a tough out. It doesn't matter where they're playing, even if they're considered quote-unquote down. None of those things come into play. OG playing a lot better basketball this year than they did last year. This is going to be a tough game for Shawnee for sure.
Dave, ready for this stat? Shawnee, 22 of 24 from the free throw line Friday night, 14 of 16 in the fourth quarter. That's serious.
Yeah, that's impressive. You had that at Van Wert High School in Van Wert County, and Lincoln View against Crestview. They went 17 for 17 from the free throw.
He just topped me. I was giving him a stat. I thought I'd blow him away. No, he doesn't.
Well, one thing I'd like to say about this game, obviously the Brothers of Destruction, we'll get that in there for Miles here. But as you look at Ottawa Glandorf, and again, Coach Tyson McLaughlin had his first losing season as a head coach last year. When I had them early against Bluffton, I touted this as the Avenge Tour, not revenge, because they don't need revenge. Mm-hmm. That's not who they are, but the Avenge Tour. And I'm not so sure Coach McLaughlin, they've got talent, but a lot of it's young talent, and then it's also coming off of that losing season. I'm not so sure this isn't his best coaching job he's done in his coaching career.
Yeah, that's a great point. Shoemaker was a freshman last year, and he got a lot of time on the floor, and he had those growing pains. Boy, it's really paying off right now. They've got some really nice players.
You know that they would love to come in.
They
would love it. Absolutely love it. Mm-hmm.
Game 4, Friday night, the Bath Wildcats, they go to Wapakoneta. Myself and Chris Howe will be on the call for this one. Guys, this is a Bath team that we don't talk enough about. They only have 2 WBL losses. They're 7-2, sitting in that third place position. I think Dre White's done a fantastic job.
Absolutely. His second year at the helm. Again, 2 years ago, before he showed up, they only won 2 games. Right. 14-10 last year, and then this year, 13-8. Back-to-back winning seasons. As you said, only 2 losses in the league. Logan Markley, he's the guy, and they've had to work with him with the broken nose. He's had ankle injuries, and they just keep plugging away. I'm very impressed with Dagan Hawkins, how he has progressed this season as well. And then had the St. John's Bath game on WOSN, and I was very impressed with how Josiah Clark and Daniel Cole defended Cam Eller. They really worked hard that night, and they battled him, and Cam had to earn it. The middle 2 quarters, Cam only had 6 points. But he had 19 in the first and 12 in the fourth. But
that's a Cam stat line every Friday night.
Exactly. Just so impressed with what Coach White and his staff, John Cook, and what they've done at Bath. But this is a game really going to be interesting how Wapak plays against Marion Local Tuesday night, and then where they go going into this last league game on Friday.
Yeah, and we already talked about Walpock, and to me, I think this is a good challenge for Bath with the defense that the Redskins are going to bring in. How they're going to handle it. That length of Walpock, I think, doesn't get talked about enough. It causes a lot of issues for teams. That's why when you look at it, they're only giving up less than 40 points a game defensively. You're going to win games that way, but you got to find a way to deal with that. And I think this will be a good challenge for Bath. Excited to see how this one plays out.
Game 5, Friday night, Coldwater at Minster. Miles Holliday and Jack McGuire on the call. Gentlemen, if you like length that you just mentioned, you're going to love this game. Coldwater comes in front line 6'10", 6'5", 6'2". Minster comes in with 6'8", Cole Albert. I mean, there's a ton of big guys on this floor.
Most definitely, but the water bugs for Coldwater are going to have something to say with this. Sure. Landon Kanapke leads the way at 13 points per game, and then Caleb Schreier, also an outstanding football player for Coldwater this season. He is a guy that really tries to make things happen both at the offensive and defensive end. So I think the guard play is really going to be critical. Yeah, you've got Albers versus Bruns inside. That's going to be fun to watch. But I think it's going to come down to how the guards play. Cole McClurg for Minster and his teammates, they're going to have to show up and be ready to go.
So I agree with you that I think it's going to come down to that guard play. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be predicated on how that inside game goes. Because when I saw Minster on Friday night against Marion Local, they looked the most fluid when the ball was, and the offense was moving through Cole Albers. Mm-hmm. They dropped that ball on the inside. Everybody collapses on him because they know what he can do there. And then his vision to find the open guys on that outside, that's when they got their offense moving. And then when the guards were hitting some shots, they couldn't collapse as much. He had guys one-on-one. He's going to win a lot of one-on-one matchups. Even going against a guy like Bruns, I think that Albers just has that strength where he's going to move Bruns a little bit easier. So if Coldwater is able to if Minster is able to take advantage of that and Albers is able to have the offense flow through him, he's able to find guys on the outside, and they got the guys like Cole McClurg and those guys that can knock down those shots, I think that Minster can come away with this one. But if Coldwater finds a way to muck that up, just like Marion Local did, it's going to be a rough night for Minster.
Game 6, Saturday night, Lima Central Catholic. They travel down to Shelby County, take on the Bodkins Trojans. Nate Garlock and Darren Gilbert. Big Gilly back in the booth with us again. Guys, this is a Bodkins team that is undefeated in the Shelby County League. Not a bad conference, and they are the Kings right now. LCC, a tough weekend ahead with Crestview and Bodkins.
Yeah, for sure. And, this is going to be a homecoming for Coach Powell. They're going to be celebrating the state title that they won when he was down there with them. So it'll be, a little bit of an emotional thing for him as well. These two teams, they scrimmaged back early prior to the season, obviously. And so they are familiar with each other a little bit. Scrimmages, it's, you can't always tell and take a lot away from there. But it's better than going down there and not having anything. This is a great way for LCC to finish the regular season. Bodkins, I believe they're still number 2.
Yeah, 18-3 overall.
Yeah, having a fantastic season. This is a tough matchup. But if you're trying to get some momentum, if you're LCC and you're trying to set yourself up, because then you got Spencerville waiting for you at the opening night of the tournament, this is a great way. Go down there, find a way to get the job done down there in that environment with everything surrounding it, and they're going to be feeling pretty good about how they close out the regular season.
Yeah, LCC will bring more physicality to this game. I had Bodkins early against Marion Local, and Marion doubled the score on
them. Yeah, they did.
66-33. But Owen Zimfer at 6'6", senior forward for Bodkins, and Eli Pitts, a 6-foot junior, averages 13 points per game, and Will Monin at 11. And being on their home floor, the homecoming for Coach Powell, I mean, that's going to be on his mind a little bit. He'll lock into the game, but that was a real special time with those Bodkins players 5 years ago, the 5-year reunion. So he's going to be a little distracted. So it's going to be a challenge for the T-Birds.
All right, boys, I've let you test drive some pickups. I've let you test drive some Fords, some Hondas, some Volkswagens.
I see where this is going.
I'm going to put you in a Ferrari now, guys.
Here we go.
Game 7, Saturday, number 1 Westerville North at 17-1, taking on our Lima Senior Spartans at 17-2. Mark Shine, and hey, I got this game. I'm so excited. You knew I was going there.
I didn't know you got it.
I'm doing color. I'm doing color. Mark's doing play-by-play. I'm super excited to work with Mark. But guys, does Quincy know how to put together some games? I said on the radio today, he needs to schedule everybody's games because we'd have matchups like this.
There's not a team in the state that he is afraid to play. He will take his guys and put them up against anyone. Even if he maybe doesn't think that they're ready to play them, he will challenge his team. He doesn't want there to be this false sense of, we're invincible. Okay, let's go prove it then. That's why they added Cincinnati Princeton. They are finishing the year with number 1 and number 2. They're going to end up playing the top 2 teams in Division 1. They've played the top teams in Division 2. This is going to be a fantastic game. They still have some injury things, not quite sure what the status of Sean Foster will be, if he'll be back for this game or not. But as we talked about earlier, right now with the way Lima Senior is playing, as talented as Sean is, this team is playing good. And they need to be able to get through games because you never know what's going to happen, and you don't want one player missing to derail what could be a special season. So I'm excited to watch this one. Whether Sean's back or not, I think that this game is going to be absolutely fantastic. That gym and that atmosphere is going to be rocking like it has been for the other games this season. Should be absolutely fantastic.
That's what I wanted to say, Dave, was when they had Lakota West, I was there for that game.
Yep.
The gym was, you couldn't have put anybody else in there. People were coming up looking for seats. And the thing I noticed, though, all the different varsity jackets. Everybody from Northwest Ohio was there. This is going to be no different. This is going to be, as you said, a rocking gym. It'll probably be a sellout. I hope Sean's ready. I hope he's able to play because I want to see him at full force.
And Coach Q, he has been very out there as far as saying, we want to play for a state championship. He said it last year, and then he's saying it again this year, but he backs it up with the quality of opponent that they play. And he said, well, we want to get there. We got to play the best. We got to beat the best to be the best. And that's what they're doing right here, and it's going to be a dandy.
Yeah. Guys, let's take a look at our sensational Stolly Player of the Week. Nate, let's start with you and our Power 5 teams.
Yeah, so I'm actually going with somebody that actually Dave mentioned a little bit ago in the segment, and it's Cale Arns. I had him on Friday night. He had another fantastic game on Saturday, led Marion Local in scoring both of those nights. This Marion Local team, outside of the game against Delphos St. John's, is just
steamrolling
everybody. That they're looking fantastic, just like they did last season as well. And so it was a lot of fun. This first time I got to see Marion Local in person, he really stood out for me. I know you had spoke very highly of Mesher and everything he does defensively, but Cale Arns and what he does on that floor offensively for this team, I think has really been a difference maker. So he is my sensational Stolly Player of the Week. And then my Power 5, shouldn't be really much of a surprise, going with Lima Senior, Delphos St. John's, Marion Local, the newly crowned outright NWC champion Lincoln View Lancers. And then I'm going with the Shawnee Indians. The Shawnee won a big game against Van Wert. They came back in that one, and they guaranteed themselves at least a share of that WBL.
Dave, your Player of the Week and your Power 5 teams.
Well, in a losing effort on Friday night for the Crest, no, I'm not.
Why did I not know that?
I am going to stay with Friday night, though, but we know with Lincoln View, when you talk about Coach Hammonds, you talk about his sons, and especially his junior son, Max Hammonds. Well, Max didn't have a real good game Friday night. He had 4 points at halftime, ended up with 10, hit some buckets down the stretch. But the guy that was consistent all night long for the Lancers, and he just played like a senior who would not be denied, was Gavin Evans. Gavin Evans had 22 points, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. I already told you Lincoln View was perfect from the line at 17 for 17. He's a 61% free throw shooter, and he was perfect against the Knights. 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 charges. The guy was a night slayer. He just was. He was a night slayer, and he is definitely my Stolly sensational player, Gavin
and
Evans.
Top 5.
Oh, yeah, my top 5. Well, I've got 4 of the 5 that Nate has. Lima Senior, St. John's, Marion Local, Shawnee. And I'm going to go off script here a little bit. I'm going to go with Spencerville.
Okay.
Spencerville has won 4 of their last 6. The 2 losses are to St. John's in overtime and to Marion Local by 2 points. And Coach Sensabaugh and I have talked. We talked at the end of last year, and we talked at the beginning of this year, and said, yeah, we want to win the conference and everything, but this team, I think we're a work in progress, and our goal is to be there when it comes tournament time. And they are playing very, very good basketball right now. And you look at, they've had some injuries. Owen's been injured. He's coming back. I think they're really putting it together. This is Team 100 years of Spencerville basketball, and they just are really focused on being a tough out and really having a great tourney run. Spencerville, number 5 for me.
No, it's funny you should say Spencerville because that is where I'm getting my Stolly Player of the Week this week. I had him Saturday night against Van Wert. Gentlemen, we talk about Sean Foster, we talk about Cam Elwood, we talk about Jordan Priddy. It is time we put Will Sensabaugh in that same category. That is as talented a player as we have in Northwest Ohio. His skill level is off the charts. His competitive nature is ridiculous. He has that chip on his shoulder. You can absolutely see it. Guys, he had 21. Now, here's the thing about having 21. You know who was defending him? They were switching guys. Welch was defending him. Kelly was defending him. McCracken was defending him. Those are three really good guards. We've seen him play all year. He had 21. He never faltered. They get a win on the road, 50-49. Now, look, Van Werf's coming off a tough loss. Spencerville didn't play the night before. Maybe had something to do with it. But they just didn't back down. You're right. Those two sophomore post players are both about, I call them meat eaters. 6'3", both of them go about 205, 210. They're strong, they're big, they're athletic. They got a technical before the game started because everybody from Spencerville was just hammering dunks. We don't see that very often, but they are super talented. I like what you said. I think they're over that Owen Sensabaugh injury hump. I think they're moving on. I'm here to tell you, they're going to be a tough out. LCC Spencerville, can't wait for that one. That's going to be a classic. All right, Lima Land, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to bring in Kelsey Beimer, the three guys here. We're going to talk about the girls bracket right here on the Three Wise Men. Welcome back to the Three Wise Men, and it's time to talk about the girls' tournament, not the playoffs. We don't call it the playoffs. No. I got that from an official today who texted me during the radio show and said, glad you're saying tournament, Danny, because it is a tournament. It's not the playoffs. Did you know that?
I did, yeah.
No, did you?
It bothers me that somebody had to explain that to you. Though.
No, they didn't explain it to me. They were gracious and told me I was doing the right thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wish Miles was here. We're joined by Kelsey Beimer. Kelsey, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. We're ready to talk girls basketball.
Yeah.
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's start with Northwest 1, Division 3. The girls are playing Elida, Lima Senior. A rivalry, a matchup of local teams. I'm super excited about this one.
Yeah, I am too. This is one that we're starting off with a good one because this one's really up in the air. I know Lily Seifert for Elida has had some injuries. We don't know what her status is going into this, but assuming that they're not going to have her, we'll just say. That's how I'm going to talk about this one. I still think Elida can get the win. I mean, they're a really good defensive squad. If all of those girls come together like they did against Bath a couple weeks ago, I think they can beat this Lima Senior team. So some up in the airs for this one, but I think I'm going to back Elida for this one.
Dave, Khalil Luster watches this show, right?
Yeah.
She watches
She's great.
Show, yeah.
She's outstanding, and if the ball's going in for her when she penetrates, she's tough to beat.
One of the things that is the theme of early matchups in the tournament is, it's rematches, right?
Yeah.
And these we're going to talk about a lot of regular season rematches. This is one of them. But this one was real early in the season. This was that opening season tournament. It's been a long time since these two have seen each other. Not the same teams. Health of the teams are going to come into play. But I think this is one that Lima Senior really feels confident going into, that they're a different team that they were beginning of the season, and they're going to come in this one ready to go. They had a great matchup last year in the tournament.
Yeah.
A phenomenal game. We were there. It was a great game, and I think we're going to have another one here as well.
Well, we get down the bracket here, guys, and you look at the 5 seed and the 6 seed. It's Wapakoneta Defiance. Look, I'm a guy that likes rematches, don't get me wrong, but when I get to the tournaments, these two teams know everything about each other. You play each other every year. Is this an advantage or disadvantage to these clubs?
Well, it's always hard to beat a team twice, right? Like that's
sure.
It's a saying for a reason. Yep. And when you start talking about conference teams, it's even more because it's not just a one-time thing or a one-off. They know each other. They know who to call to find out more about each other. It doesn't matter. Walpock lost to Defiance in the regular season. It was about, I think it was like 48-37 or something like that. Yep. So Walpock's going to come into this one. They're going to have a Renzo on their mind. Defiance is going to have that challenge of trying to beat a team twice in a season. That's what the tournament's all about, though.
And I still think it's a key for the coaching staff to be balanced. Yeah, you do know each other. How much time do you spend talking about your opponent, and do you spend too much time talking about your opponent and forgetting about, hey, this is who we are, and focusing on your strengths?
Northwest 2, Girls Division 7. I think the story in this bracket, guys, is Ottoville. I said this to you guys off the air. There are 3 squads in this area that I think that have the chance to make long tournament runs. And when I say long, I'm talking about getting to the state Final Four. And I think you look at Ottawa-Glendorf, you look at Columbus Grove, and you look at Ottoville. This Ottoville team's really good.
Yeah, Brooklyn Kester just named the Putnam County League Player of the Year. Congratulations to her. But yeah, this Ottoville squad, they've had an outstanding season. They'll be challenged in this tournament. And obviously, I see them playing Kalida in the district semi, so you're right back in there playing a league opponent. But it's going to be a good challenge for them. They've got the weapons.
Yeah, I agree with Dave there. You know, this is an Ottoville team that's really good. We've been talking about them. He mentioned Brooklyn Kester, a fantastic player amongst a lot of others on that team. So I think Ottoville gets through the top of this bracket. I don't want to say relatively easy, but they definitely have the power to do so.
Well, and when you look at the way that this bracket is made up, this is the first time that we're going to see, at least as far as what we're talking about here tonight, this new format of the new tournament coming into play. If you look through, there's not a 1 seed in this bracket.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of how these guys are getting moved around, which means somewhere else there's 2 1 seeds sitting in a bracket somewhere.
Yep.
And that leaves Ottoville as the top seed, as that 2 seed before they ever get going. It's just going to be interesting as we go through the tournament this year with this new format and this new style to see how all of this seeding and all these placements and all this new stuff that we're doing comes into play. And when you look here, you know, no one's getting a 1 seed this year.
Moving right along, guys, Northwest 3, Girls Division 7. You want to talk about a bracket that's loaded with teams within 25 miles of where we're sitting right now. Upper Side of Valley plays Corey Rawson. There's an NWCC matchup. The winner plays Lipsy. You've got Macomb and Van Loo. There's the BVC matchup. You've got Miller City and Lima Perry, not too far away from each other. And then Delta St. John's Continental. It's got Northwest Ohio written all over it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one team that really sticks out to me here is Miller City. I think the finals of this one is going to come down to Miller City and Lipsick, and I think Miller City is going to take it all. I mean, they're another team. They're the 1 seed in this bracket, which I know Nate talked about. It's a little bit all over the place, but they're 20-2, ranked really highly amongst stats and other teams. And I really like Miller City going into the tournament time.
Yeah, they bring defense. They bring 84 feet of defense there. They just play the full court. They bring the physicality in the guard position. You better take care of the basketball if you're going up against Miller City.
Yeah, same. I like Miller City in this bracket as well, and watch out for them for several years. They are young.
Yeah, they are young.
Both the girls and boys are having great success at Miller City this year. But it's such a small school where they graduate 30 kids a year. It's unbelievable. Northwest 3, Girls Division 6. Oh, my goodness. Dave's got a vested interest in this one. If Crestview can get by Antwerp, they got a rematch with Wayne Trace, and they just played them.
They did just play them, and Crestview came away with a victory at Wayne Trace, but Casey Gregory had to have 27 points in that game, had her best game of the season. This Wayne Trace club, I've seen them several times this year. Lexi Moore, outstanding senior, 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. You don't see that very often in a player's career. And then you have the Winans girls out front, Corrine and Caroline. They do a great job of handling the basketball and putting on tremendous defensive pressure. It'll be a great game, and they just played, as you said, so the rematch, if it happens, will be within a couple weeks.
Anybody, look, every year we talk about teams that make tournament runs. I don't care what Crestview's record is every year.
Yeah.
If I see them coming down the trail, I'm shaking a little bit. That's what you want to talk about, tradition and athletes and getting prepared. Crestview's really hard out every year.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like you said it really well. This tournament time, you know, we're coming in on, I don't want to say fully clean slates, but, you know, you're coming in with a fresh start. Your records don't matter. You already have your seeds and you have who you're playing. So a lot of teams have made really good runs. In this bracket, though, I think one team we haven't talked about yet that I really like is Patrick Henry. They're the number 1 seed here. I think that they are very good as well, 18-3 on the season. I do think Crestview gets that initial win, but I think it's going to come down to Patrick Henry and Wayne Trace for the finals in this one.
Listen, that's why I got her here. I'm
Right.
She's the best in the business of girls basketball. Northwest 4, Division 6, guys. Columbus Grove, Lima Central Catholic. What a great matchup that is. Look, we just found out today Nicole Nesby was named the Northwest Conference Player of the Year. 1,000-point scorer, all-time leading rebounder. Yep. I love watching her play, Nate. She gets positioned down low, and if she catches it down low, she's hard to stop.
Yeah, I talked about it last week when we were talking about going through our Queen of the Court segment. When you look at this Columbus Grove team as a whole, I don't know that we would have sat in these seats at this time last year and said, yeah, they're good, but next year they're going to be better.
Correct.
And I think they're better right now as a team than they were last year. There's not much for me to say throughout in this bracket. I think this is Columbus Grove's to lose. And they're starting to look, again, like it's not just this part of the bracket, but the whole bracket is theirs to lose.
Yeah, Lauren Ockmoody graduates, and then the Schrader girl, she has a knee injury, tears her ACL against Crestview this year, and they didn't skip a beat. I was very impressed with that. Kendall Pulte, also a first-teamer for Columbus Grove in the
We might
Northwest
see
Conference.
LCC Colonel Crawford at the end of this one battling each other. What a matchup that would be.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Nate and Dave said, I think Grove gets through this one relatively easily. Where it gets interesting for me is Grove, if they win this, is going to go against whoever wins the last bracket we talked about. For me, that would be Patrick Henry. And I think Patrick Henry could honestly knock Grove out of the tournament at this one. If there are any Grove people watching, please prove me wrong. 'Cause I love watching you guys. But they played about a month ago, and Patrick Henry got that win 60-42. So could be a fun matchup a couple weeks down the line.
How underrated is Brian Schrader as a head coach
Yep.
for Columbus Grove? I think he's fantastic, you guys.
He's so good.
And Nate's spot on when he said they lost the player of the year last year. They come back, they're better this year. No slight to Lauren Moody because she was fantastic.
Absolutely.
But they've just put it in injuries. They went through injuries, and they're still just humming along.
Yep.
Yeah, and Coach Schrader was recognized as the coach of the year in the conference, Northwest Conference.
Yeah, they have a lot of really good freshmen as well, but that Aubrey Schrader injury, that does hurt the team, absolutely. But they still have players all over the place and are really, really good.
I got a feeling she'll come back better next year.
Oh,
I really
100%. Yeah, she'll be more motivated than
Yeah,
ever.
Northwest 5, Division 6. It's got a lot of Northwest Ohio flavor. Allen East and Ada. Allen East is your 3 seed. Ada is your 5 seed. You've got Parkway taking on Spencerville. You've got Minster and New Bremen. And then Riverdale awaits the winner of the Allen East Ada game.
Yeah, not everybody at once.
Sorry, I was making a note.
But yeah, no, this is. I think this is a really competitive bracket. When you look at the makeup of this, you're looking. You have 2 3 seeds in here, right? Which again goes back to this weird makeup this year, right? You got
It's
Minster.
driving me nuts.
You
I'm
got
gonna be honest with you.
You got Minster as a 3 seed. You have Allen East as a 3 seed. So the talent is going to be relatively easy or even as you look at this stuff on paper. I think this will be a really fun one to see who comes out of it. You could end up though at the end of this thing in a final with a 3 seed versus a 3 seed.
Yeah.
Which may make a lot of people's brains itch compared to how we've all used to seeing this.
Let me just
True.
throw this out there. This New Bremen squad's got 7 wins. Did you know they beat Minster 2 weeks ago, 32-31, and they've got a rematch? I'm telling you, I love contests like that. New Bremen didn't have any business beating Minster. They did because they're coached well, and they've got athletes, and they're going to rematch with Minster.
Yeah. And if you look at a team like Spencerville, right, they're taking on the 2 seed in Parkway. Parkway having a really good year. But Spencerville has some good players as well.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that you look at any of these and go, any of these games are givens. And I think that's what makes this bracket really exciting.
It is really wide open, and as you said earlier with the bracket we looked at, Nate, no number 1 seed in this bracket.
Yeah, I have this one going down to the 2 3 seeds as well, like Nate said, Allen East and Minster. And I think it's interesting you bring up that Minster-New Bremen match because we'll talk about them next, but Marion Local just kind of pulled an upset win over Minster. Me and JKB had that game last week, and Minster was undefeated at home, and Marion Local took that from them last game of the season. So this one for me comes down to Minster, Allen East, and I think Minster's going to take it. After a couple of losses toward the end of the season, I think they're going to be more motivated than ever to get into tournament time and do well.
Northwest 6, Division 6. It's got a little MAC Northwest Conference flavor to it. Marion Local takes on Coldwater. The winner gets St. Henry. Gentlemen, Kelsey, has there ever in our area been a team at 21-1 more quiet than St. Henry? That's unbelievable. They're having a fantastic year, and nobody's talking about them.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable because, even like as we were preparing for this and we are getting ready for it, it was like, well, let's check their record again real quick. Like, we knew they were good, but it's like, man, they're that good. And then you get a new wrinkle in here. You have 2 1 seeds in this bracket. This is all just so weird. It does make running these brackets a lot more difficult because, again, you're going to have matchups like this where the last one we didn't have one at all. We thought it was going to be a 3 seed versus a 3 seed in the final. And here you could have 2 1 seeds, that's not that unique. It just is when you're this early in the tournament.
And the top of this bracket is all Midwest Athletic Conference teams, and the bottom 0. That's sort of a out of character kind of piece as well. Usually you'd see those MAC teams spread out a little bit more, or any conference not playing themselves on the same side of the bracket like that.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Dave. You mentioned it. A lot of MAC teams up at the top, and we know the MAC conference is full of heavy hitters. So to have them all go in against each other relatively early on will be huge. Definitely some upsets there. I like St. Henry, though. We've talked about them really good. I like them to make it out of this bracket.
Our final bracket we're going to look at tonight, Northwest 1, Division 5. And folks at home, if we did not get to your school, we only have a certain amount of time we can do this show, so we apologize. But we'll be talking girls basketball for the next several weeks. But this is the bracket with Ottawa-Glandorf. They're the number 1 seed. Guys, there's not a lot of schools that we cover out of the area that are in this. We just like OG's chances in this to go and win the whole thing.
Well, and I think what's most telling about Ottawa-Glandorf and the season they've had again and the talent that they have again is when you look, it's clear everybody avoided them.
Yes.
Everybody went, when they had a chance to go somewhere else, the other 1 seeds, the other 2 seeds, they went somewhere else. There's 1, 3 seeds, and then it's 6, 7, and 8 seeds. Nobody wants to see the Titans. They've had that kind of season, and, they're probably not going to see a quote unquote difficult game until much later in the tournament because nobody wants to play them.
Yeah. Kelsey, they got the queen of the court too, Carson Erford. Not a bad player to have lead you right through the tournament trail.
Yep, that's what I have written down, Carson Erford. But also tons of other girls on that team that are so good. 22-0 OG is. Once I had written down, they average over 60 points a game. In girls basketball, that's kind of unheard of. And that's impressive. They can put up points. They have it on both sides of the ball, all 3 levels. I think OG goes through this one relatively easily.
Dave, let me ask you this before we go. 22-0. Nerves? Would you rather have lost a game? What do you think?
No.
I'm 100% behind you. People ask that all the time. Well, you haven't lost any games. Shouldn't you have lost that game and got that pressure up? Nope. I want to win every game I play.
Yep.
You stay in the now. You don't worry about the game you played yesterday, and you don't worry about the game that you might play down the road. You stay in the now. You stay locked in. And fortunately, again, I was able to play a small part in an undefeated season a long time ago.
Yeah, I think they're the 76 Hoosiers, Dave. Think they get it done? State championship, undefeated?
Yes.
I do, too.
We're rooting for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelsey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Hey. Welcome back into the 3 Wise Men. It's time to go to the Buckeye Corner, gentlemen. Tough loss to the Virginia Cavaliers. I thought they played well, guys, but they were without Junie Mobley.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this felt like a game that they were going to win, only because it seems like every year we get to this part of the season and there's a game that you're like, they have no business winning, there's no chance in it, and then somehow they find a way. That's what this one felt like to me, and they weren't able to pull it off. It was a lot closer than I think a lot of people thought, but I know we talk about extracurriculars when it comes to financial interest and things like that from time to time, but it can be telling. Ohio State was only a 4.5-point underdog going into that game, which I was really surprised about, that they were getting that much love going into a neutral site game against a highly ranked opponent, and they played right with them. Now, I don't know quite what that says about Virginia, but Ohio State playing a little bit better. They get the win against USC, but it just seems when you watch this team that there's just something missing. There's nothing that jumps out that you're like, oh, we're good at this, this will carry us. It's just not there. There's not that entertainment. There's not that excitement. There's just, we're out playing some basketball and maybe we'll win and maybe we won't, and everybody just seems to be okay with that, and that concerns me for a program like Ohio State.
Absolutely. It had that NCAA tournament feel, as you said, neutral court, Nate, and I really liked not slogging up against another Big Ten team. I thought the game had flow again. It was fun to watch. But the challenge for Ohio State is inconsistency. There's no consistency at the 3, 4, or 5 spot. Devin Royal, Christoph Tilley, they're never having the same night, a good night on the same night.
You're getting 4 or 21.
Yes, exactly. And it's just been so challenging, and I think that's one of the reasons why they can compete. They can see the top of the hill, the top of the mountain, but they can't get up on top of it.
Well, I'm not going to ask you guys what the biggest strengths are. We watch them every week. We know what they can and can't do. What's your concern for this team, Nate, going into the tournament?
I mean, the concern is that it just continues to be a recycle of what we've been seeing, right? Like that somehow, even though with a new coach and a new staff, that this is the same type of mentality and the same type of just acceptance of play.
There's never any urgency
that we've been getting. Yeah, like it's just, we're just going to continue to see a lot of the same, because I don't know that they have players in the program right now that know any better. They don't know what the next step is or what that next level is, because they haven't experienced it in so long, and there's not anyone involved in that program right now that has either. because, as much as we all kind of fell in love with Diebler when he got hired and some of the things that he did, it's not like he was around a lot of winning either. He didn't experience that. He didn't see how the coaching staff ran things, the urgency they would put into practices and into games, into situational type things in game. And my concern is that we've just accepted that this is who we are and it's going to be okay.
Or as Gus Johnson said, you need more money, and
we ain't got it.
Yeah, it's going towards Iowa State football. And execution down the stretch. That we've been in games, and the question is, are we outplaying our talent, or are we underachieving? And when it comes down to it, those last 4 minutes of the game, there's just a lack of execution. I don't know what we're trying to do, and I don't think the players on the floor know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, for me, guys, it's the bench play. There's just, look, Ngovan's gotten better. He really has. And it's a credit to the staff, because last year when he first came on the floor, I'm like, what are we doing here? But he has gotten better. He's not afraid to take the ball to the bucket. What is he, 7'1", 7'2"? I mean, he's got great size, but boy, you watch Colin White, he doesn't look comfortable out there. I don't like to say that about our local guy because we're all rooting for Colin, but he just doesn't look comfortable out there. Chapman has played better. He has played better. He's gotten better. But there's just not a lengthy bench there that we could go to and get 10, 12, 13 points when we need it. I don't know how long this coaching staff will be there. I really don't. And I think that if Russ Bjork makes a change, he has to have a home run hire. He really does. I'm old enough, guys, to remember when Eldon Miller was there, and that's what this reminds me of, He was getting kids to come to Ohio State, but they weren't great players. They were local kids. He was getting out of the Columbus City League. He was getting from maybe Northeast Ohio, just not great players.
I was a student on campus Eldon's last 2 years, and a couple of those recruits came from Iowa, and we'll leave it at that.
High school basketball. Well, guys, they've got Wisconsin left. They've got Michigan State. They've got Iowa. They've got Purdue. They've got Penn State and Indiana. Guys, I have the Buckeyes finishing with 18 wins and not making the tournament.
So that's exactly what I have as well. I think there's 2 wins left on this schedule.
That's exactly what I have.
And I don't think that you see those until the last 2 games of the season. I think Penn State and Indiana are our best chances for victories on the way out. And I'll tell you what, you go into those games with a 4-game losing streak, you're not going to be playing with your head held real high. There's a good chance that we don't pick up both of those games either. There's a chance that we only get 1 more win on the way out. And I think if that 1 or 2 wins on the way out, and so will Diebler.
You guys are making me feel like the supreme optimist. I've got them going 3-3 down the stretch here. All right, so that would make them 19-12, 11-9 in the conference. So they are definitely a bubble team. But again, they make the tournament, and it could be a free fall right there. They could lose in the first round, and that's something I don't know that would be very good for us to see either.
Do you guys agree with me that you think that it's going to be the manner in which we lose games? Like if we're getting beat at home by 30, like what Michigan did to us, is that going to spell the end of this coaching staff?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much is that simple. I mean, you can get some grace if your games are 1 point, 1 possession, not getting away from you, competitive, you're seeing the fire. Someone's going to lose a game, right? And if you're showing those, I think you can talk about what you're doing in games to keep yourself employed. But if these games end up not being competitive, they go away, we see a skid, the writing's on the wall.
That'll do it, boys. Dave, thanks for sitting in for Miles.
Been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Lima Land, join us next week. Jeremy Best and the Van Wert Cougars will be in the house. Miles, get better. Special thanks to Brady Parker and Jordan Priddy. Yeah. Nate, another good show. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. Anytime. You call me, I'll come anytime, man.
You've been watching the 3 Wise Men, Lima Land. Thanks a lot.